Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to give you guys an update on the 4moms mamaRoo sleep bassinet. Last time I showed you guys, my baby had just been in it a couple of times. She was just, I believe, a month or two old. She is now 4 months. We have been using the sleep bassinet exclusively for her nighttime sleep. We were also using it for naps. So I will tell you guys what I do like about it, what I dislike about it, and then also some tips and tricks that I think would be really beneficial if you're thinking of getting it. So without further ado, let's just get right into the video. Okay, so the first thing that I'd like to start off with is that the mamaRoo sleep bassinet does have a timer. So it maxes out at 4 hours. I don't particularly like this feature. From my research, I really just found that the reason why they're doing it is because they don't want the baby becoming dependent to the movement. I'm not sure if it's also because if it runs for too long, it needs some time to cool down, because when you do turn this off, it has a cooling mechanism. You'll hear a little bit of a fan so that it doesn't overheat. So I'm not sure what the rhyme or reason is, but it seems to be online that it's because they don't want the baby to become dependent on the movement. However, my baby is dependent on the movement, so we like to have it on all night long, and she does sleep through the night. I would definitely say I can attribute some of it to the mamaRoo bassinet, but when it turns off, it does wake her up. So there's a couple tricks that we figured out on how to keep it on. However, you will have to get up in the middle of the night and do them. In the beginning, what we would do was we would turn off the mamaRoo and reset it so that it would go another 4 hours. And we would do that every 4 hours until she woke up for the day. Now I realized that it has a timer. I already knew it had a timer, but I didn't want to use it because I didn't want to stop it at any point. I'll show you guys on the screen right now.
Let me show you guys how I turn it on. The app is great. It does have all the other Wi-Fi that you can have for your other 4moms devices. We only have the mamaRoo Sleep, but if you had like the infant seat, you could choose that as well. So I just choose the mamaRoo Sleep Bassinet, and then I just have to turn it on. And once I do, you can go into motions. We like to use the tree swing, so I move it up to 3. You can do it all the way up to 5. And then we put the sound on. I won't do that now just because of the fact that it'll interfere with the audio. But then the other thing is it has a timer. So usually the timer looks like this. And you can set the timer to as many hours as you would like between 1 and 4. 4 is the max amount. So we set it at 4. And then throughout the night, whenever she wakes up or, you know, it stops moving, we basically just restart it. Or I can just add 10 minutes. I can cancel the timer, which sometimes would turn off the mamaRoo. So I would just suggest setting the timer and then adding 10 minutes all the way up to until the time that you want. Usually we max it out at 4.
Once you're down to 1 hour, if you wake up in the middle of the night, you can bump it up to 4 hours again. So the way I think that that helped was that when I wake up in the middle of the night when she's stirring, or, you know, just because I'm a mom and I'm always checking on her, I just start resetting the timer. So it actually never really gets interrupted and I have constant motion. By all means, I completely fall asleep sometimes and I forget to reset the timer, and she will usually wake up within 30 minutes to an hour of when it stops moving. I would say that's the number one thing with this that I do not like, is that it does have a very short timer, and I wish it had a longer timer or no timer at all, something that was more customizable, because I don't like that she wakes up. Or another nice feature would be if the speed started to just get slower and slower versus just abruptly turn off, which is usually what wakes her. Keeping on the subject of movement, the bassinet does have quite a good surface area in here, and I'll show you guys that. So whenever my baby's in there, she doesn't roll from the rocking. She doesn't roll either way, no matter which speed you're at, if you're all the way up to 5, or if you're doing like a tree swing, or you know, car ride. She doesn't actually rock with it, and she is in a swaddle. So you would think that in that swaddle she would easily move with the bassinet since the motions are quite large. But because the motions are in a larger way and because it has a large surface area, she actually doesn't move. The only thing that moves is the bassinet, which of course was kind of a concern of mine because of safety wise. I didn't want this to somehow make her roll onto her side or, you know, onto her stomach, and she doesn't. So I would say that's a great feature. They really have thought out the movements in the bassinet as well as the surface area. She's also fairly tall, I would say. She's about, I think 24 inches now, and she still fits perfectly in here. I don't remember what the length is, but I do have that in my other video on the original review, so I'll link that up here. I do know that the weight max is 25 pounds, or whenever they can basically sit up or push themselves up on their own, which I understand because when she does kick her legs out very aggressively, this does have a safety stop, so it will stop and pause the movement if your baby is too heavy and moving around and jerking around, because it basically knows that it's trying to move out probably. So I love that safety feature because it definitely has kicked in whenever I pick her up from the bassinet. I would always suggest turning it off so that you don't ruin the mechanism whenever you're taking her out or him. That is a really good feature that she does still fit in it being 24 inches long. Okay, so my baby is quite the active baby, but then again, I've asked a ton of moms this question and she moves all the way up against this screen, and it really made me super nervous. I'm a first-time mom and I didn't want her having her face completely bunched up against it because I was really worried about her being able to breathe. I'm obviously not saying push your baby up against the screen by any means, but I'm just saying this is very breathable, and I know firsthand because she sleeps right against it. It does have 2 mesh guards, and both of them have very large holes, not large enough for her to stick her finger in or anything like that, but definitely large enough for a really good amount of airflow. Guys, there is another feature that is not my favorite, but whenever you do turn this on, it does light up for quite a while. So even if you turn it on from your phone or you turn it on manually, the light is very bright when you're in a very dark room with your baby. So I wouldn't say that it bothers my baby at all, but it does make me a little paranoid that the light is going to wake her up because it's pretty bright. However, it is lower down here, so it kind of lights up versus in. So it's never woken her up, but it does stay on for I think about a minute. I haven't timed it, but I believe it is a whole minute, which is nice so that you can see the features, but I would like it to turn off much quicker. One question I actually got a few times in my last video and then on my Instagram post was whether this worked with the owlet sock. Now, we use the owlet sock every single night and for her nap times, and we love it. And I was concerned that it was going to read the movement and think that she was up, because the way the owlet sock works is that it basically is reading her movement to see if she's awake, so it can show you the sleep patterns, and then it also is gauging her heart rate and her oxygen levels. Now, this definitely does not interfere with it. I know that one of the moms that reached out to me said that it did interfere with hers. I've tried it on different settings. I've tried it on the car seat one, I've tried it on the tree one, which is the one that we always use, and none of them have interrupted them. My daughter also usually tends to put her feet flat right onto it, so I would think that having it right on there would interrupt it, but it doesn't. I've had no issues whatsoever, and that has been for months now. The only time I think it was interrupting it was when I used the vibration setting. The vibration setting for me is very aggressive and it's very loud, so I never used it. I just didn't think that she liked it, and then on top of that, it did seem to have an interference with the sock. Other than that, whatever motion it is and however long she's in it, it shows all the readings perfectly. So another thing that's happened is that when I go to turn it on with my phone, sometimes the Wi-Fi Bluetooth has disconnected. I'm not sure if this is something that I'm doing when I'm turning my Bluetooth on or off to go in the car or whatever it might be, but it does sometimes happen. And basically, if you go on their troubleshooting website, it does say just to unplug and re-plug it in, and that always fixes it. And then another thing, so this is the sheet that it comes with. It does have two little sides right here, and I like this sheet. It fits perfectly. I did want to have a backup sheet, obviously, maybe even a couple in case she had a blowout or, you know, she seeped through her diaper or anything like that. However, I found the sheets to be a little bit expensive. So I used to have the Halo Bassinet, and what I did was I just put one of those sheets that I already owned onto this one, and I think it fits pretty well. Yes, it's a little bit larger, but I just tuck in the sides and it definitely does not bunch up. So you could probably find on Amazon something a little bit more inexpensive. If you don't want to pay that much for sheets, then I would just say buy the Halo ones or just a very basic bassinet. It does have very similar measurements, and all you have to do is tuck in the sides and it works perfectly. She does move around a ton and never has it bunched up all the way up to her face or anything like that. It's pretty taut in there. A pretty cool feature that I realized this bassinet has is that you can change the speeds. You can change the sound. You can also change the volume. So what's really great is that whenever we do start to transition her for her nighttime sleep at her crib, what we're going to start doing is slowing down all the settings. So right now we have it at a 4. I believe we used to have it at a 5 for the tree swing, and then we have it at 4. So what I'm going to do is every single week I'm going to slow it down maybe to a 3, 2, and 1 until it's completely off, and then I will try to do the transition. You guys can ask me in the comments down below. I will definitely be doing that in a couple months when she moves over to her crib at 6 months. Okay, and then last thing is that this is really compact. So we actually went to the beach for my husband's birthday, and it was her first overnight, so I was pretty worried that she wouldn't like to sleep in a pack and play, so I decided to take this. The cool thing about this is that the legs come off, and then this scrunches down to about this size, and this part is actually really thin too. So you can definitely fit it in the trunk of your car, any normal sedan. We do have a mid-size SUV, and this fit in there with all of our luggage as well as our stroller, and it was super easy to just connect, and it was already set up to my phone. So I think that if you did have some maybe local traveling to do, and I wouldn't suggest taking it on a plane, but if you did have some local traveling to do and maybe we're just going up to the mountains or to the beach, it would be awesome to take if you have an infant. So I would definitely suggest that, because it was really easy and made our life so much easier. So obviously as parents, the main reason we're thinking of buying a bassinet like this is because we want to get more sleep. And I would definitely say it's worth the investment because of the fact that the movement definitely keeps my baby asleep. I can only speak from personal experience, but it definitely helps her stay asleep. She is in her 4-month regression right now, and I can definitely tell a difference when I sleep her in her crib for her naps versus when she sleeps in here at night. She wakes up, but the bassinet movement keeps her asleep or rocks her back to sleep. So it really helps us get a lot more sleep, not having to wake up every 30 minutes to an hour. Not saying that she doesn't, but she will go back to sleep easier when she's in here. And she sleeps for much longer periods. My daughter sleeps up to 8 or 9 hours straight, and she does fuss a little bit, but like I said, you just shush her a little bit and the movement really helps put her back to sleep. So I personally think that this is an amazing invention. The whole reason we even got this was because at the beginning when she was a newborn. So I would definitely say that for us, this is amazing. It really helps keep her asleep and keep her happy, which in turn keeps mom and dad super happy. All right, guys, well, that is it for the video. I definitely would recommend the bassinet. Like I said, the only thing that I really don't like is the timer, but other than that, it is absolute gem and gives us those extra Z's at night that we really need as new parents. So I would suggest it for you guys for sure. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and then don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in my next one.